Got a co-pilot about to take flight, guiding through the cold day and night, crafting dreams from bits and bytes. Microsoft magic, it's out of sight. Got a co-pilot about to take flight, guiding through the cold day and night, crafting dreams from bits and bytes. Microsoft magic, it's out of sight. Teamwork countdown, shall we ring it out loud? Teamwork countdown, making all the proud.
Hey everybody, Ricardo here, welcoming you to another CAP for Copilot, Copilot adoption practices. I have friends with me. I have Stacy, and I have special guests. Mr. Jason Jackson is joining us today. Graced us with his presence to geek out on Copilot with us. So glad to have you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, we try to, bring folks to chat with us every now and then, and especially, so just a quick intro on Jason. He covers public sector or government accounts. If you are a government customer out there, you're probably very excited that M365 Copilot is on the way, if not there already for you. And so, it's big milestone for everyone. So we'll get in a little bit of that too. But again, if you are new, we're coming here just to geek out on Copilot, talk about best practices. You feel free to use the chat, whether you're joining from LinkedIn or YouTube, to interact with us. We'll be monitoring that as best we can. So feel free to put your questions in. If you are out there, want to say hi and where you're from, feel free to do that as well. So we're happy to take your questions and things, but otherwise we're just gonna like I said, geek out on Copilot together, and we're all fellow enthusiasts here. In fact, I like to ask a lot of times fellow Copilot enthusiasts like you, Jason, like what's your favorite prompt these days that maybe you've used lately or use often? You have a favorite one?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, one of the prompts that I primarily use is helping me summarize messages from my last workday, whether it's via emails, channels, Teams chats, things like that, or Teams messages in that case. So that way I can kind of understand, okay, what were some of the last few things that I discussed as I'm leading into the new day to either start it, for those that wake up early, and maybe you grab you a cup of coffee or something before you get your actual work day started and you try to get caught up on things. That's one of the biggest prompts that I love using. And it's one of those things where it'll also identify important tasks and it bolds them, puts them in its own dedicated column, things of that nature. So that way I don't miss some of those important follow-ups as well. So that's just one of my favorites from a work standpoint. But if I'm thinking about just from a geeking out with Copilot standpoint, it's one of the ones where You ask it to read your emails, your channel messages, your chats and things like that, and identify the type of hero that you would be, the type of superhero that you would be. And
Mm,
so it does it based on your own type of personal tone and context and what you're kind of known for
yeah.
from amongst your colleagues or friends and things like that. And it gives a good glimpse into how you communicate via different vehicles as well too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Stacy and I are also big fans of that. Um, tell me what's going on, start my day kind of thing. I don't know if you guys are once Copilot does give you that response, how much you are like you follow it. Because one could argue it has found the most relevant, timely things. And so that's what I'll start my day with. I won't even read my inbox. I'll trust you, Copilot, and I'll I'll,
Yeah.
I'll work on the ones you tell me to. I don't know if we're there yet.
I mean, I think we're almost there, right? I think with Copilot, the biggest things I think we always communicate, not just to customers, but just in general, is being as specific as you can. So,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
for example, in that case of kind of what you mentioned, if I say last work day, then it should only be looking at the last work day. Now, if I give it a different time constraint, then it
Hmm.
may pull in additional information. And I think that's where it gets very interesting. Like when the results come back, like you said, hey, I'm going to trust you, Copilot, because maybe you said
Yeah.
the last work day. Well, if I look at it, the last work day
Yeah.
is very much that. And I think one thing too is looking at it based on, like, if you're looking at your emails in Outlook, uh, for those that use folders, you have to be careful because with Copilot, and it's one of those things where you got to understand it's looking through your inbox. But if you're not as specific, it may or may not pull some information that you weren't necessarily really wanting it to pull back,
Mm,
because you weren't looking for that information. And so it does have that accessibility, and so that makes it good at the same time too. If I ask, hey, what did me and Ricardo talk about the last time we were able to meet?
yeah.
It'll probably pull back a few months or 6 months or something like that. I was like, well, that's not what I meant. It
Right.
meant like yesterday.
Right. Yeah. I will say Copilot starts to earn your trust. So this has happened to me, and I've had it happen to colleagues as well, where they do that prompt, and Copilot reminds them about something that they had forgotten, something
Yes.
important, right? That's when you start to get a feel for, all right, this thing might really, I need to start trusting this thing because I had one colleague. I mean, it was something they really needed to remember, and that
Yeah.
summarized my emails thing brought that to the forefront.
Mhm.
They were like, "Oh man, I forgot, I forgot all about
Yeah.
that." So those are the good days when you're like, "Yeah, I really do have an assistant here helping me out." Same as a real assistant that would be going through my address book or calendar or whatever and pointing
Right. Right.
things out to me. So that's pretty cool.
No, that's
I
true.
like, yeah, I like that it can help me take it the next level deep too. Like not only give me the information that I'm asking for in the time frame that I'm asking you to do it, but also help me prioritize it, help me
Mhm.
categorize it, list it in a certain way, bullet it out in a way that makes sense. Tell me according to the Eisenhower matrix how I might tackle and prioritize these projects. It just you can get down in the weeds in one prompt
Yeah.
and have it guide your next steps in the best way. I just have
Agreed.
come to depend on it quite a bit.
Yeah. And another little note on that too, to the multi-turn piece, right? So you've given me this summary. Well,
Mhm.
that third one, let's dive into that, and I can ask that as
Yes.
the second one. And I also just love that I can just say, tell me more about the third one. I don't have to restate the whole thing or say
No.
the one with the subject line, blah, blah, blah. Just
Yeah.
that natural language thing is
You know what? I think
yeah,
that's an unsung hero, to be
yeah,
honest. Like when you really think about Copilot and the other AIs that are out there that does similar type of scenarios, but specifically with Copilot, whether it's within your day to day or you use a consumer product, and whatnot. I don't think we appreciate just the level of understanding that
mhm,
comes with this type of assistant, right? Like you mentioned, you say, "Hey, give me more information about that third bullet point."
mhm,
Well, I mean, yes, you were specific in the ask, but the fact that it does get more granular in that regards, I
Yeah.
think it makes it that much better as well too. And then you can start to refine it in different ways. Like
Yeah.
it's been, I think it's been really good for me and personally. And I won't lie, when we first got access to it, I didn't use it as much. As it was a new muscle, for sure.
Right.
But I'm finding myself going to it more frequently to help myself actually be either more concise or polished or get something on the canvas, because I have a writer's block right now or something like
Yeah.
that.
For sure. Writer's block is a key value for me. No more staring at a blank page, wondering how to start.
Right,
Um, and then I think if people could, because you're right, it's when you try to adopt it, for yourself, it's slow at first as you try to figure it out. But
mhm,
if people can kind of get in their head, we have evolved beyond word searches. Like when you're using this thing, you're not just like we would have
Right.
done with our old school search box. You're just looking for words, hoping to find the right thing.
right, right.
This thing is reasoning. It's reading the stuff and understanding, and that's
It's
that
powerful.
yeah, very powerful.
Very,
Yeah, yeah,
It's
very.
powerful.
yeah.
I've
So
been
yeah,
lo-
to David's point in the chat there, that prompt, we're all probably all starting to go on holidays in the U.S. So that prompt's going to get a lot of use come
yes,
January.
yes, it
Yeah, it
will.
is.
Yeah.
It will. And I think, to David's point, actually, so for those that are watching, and David made a comment about the holidays and the backlog of emails and tasks that are coming along with that because people are taking off. Um, if you haven't taken off yet, and you're not taking off till Friday, or you may only take off a week or something like that, go save a prompt that you like if you have not, and do it for when you come back from the holidays, and ask Copilot to summarize maybe the last 2 weeks based on where I'm mentioned or something like that, right? So now, or where I'm in the two line or something like that. So that way now you're prioritizing how you review that backlog of emails now. Which
Mhm.
ones are actually going to be priority, that have an upcoming deadline. Like maybe there's a deadline that's actually asked within the particular email or chat or something like that. And maybe refine the prompt, right? Like,
Mhm.
so that way when you get back, it can be more seamless than what you realize, because now you can focus on those top priorities, at least to knock out within the next 72 hours.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, definitely save that prompt, maybe schedule it, all that good stuff, so that you can just hit the ground running when you get back. Um, Now we also, so we're speaking more about the emails, the chats, that
Mhm.
kind of thing, but we know Copilot's got integration across all the different apps. And really to either one of you, I mean, in terms of the feature integrations, or is there a favorite or most interesting app you guys use um, across the, whether it's Word or Teams or whatever, anyone that you use most. And let's take Outlook out of it. We
Dang.
solidified Outlook as king.
Okay. Okay. I'll take Outlook out of it, because
Hey, I think that's a debate. Outlook is not king.
I was gonna do a shameless plug for
Okay.
for Outlook. I was.
Oh, go
And
for
I
it.
think
I
you
want to hear it.
should. I think you can, but I
Okay, and
reserve
Stacey.
Teams as mine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Stacey, I'm with you on Teams. So I would say my favorite integration, it probably is Teams, because I'm finding myself to really leverage biz chat more, right?
Mm,
And that's the Copilot that's pinned into your Microsoft Teams application, and you can go there and um start to really leverage the services of Copilot in a way that you actually haven't realized, to leverage it, right? Like just taking some random questions that maybe someone had asked, and then putting it in Copilot. Actually, I'll be transparent for this call, for this live session right now. I actually leveraged Copilot because Ricardo and I and Stacey and I were talking about some questions that we want to make sure we let the audience know about. And I was like, you know what? Let me actually ask Copilot, what have I done in relation to the questions that we're asking,
mm,
or that we're going to be discussing, to help me better understand and be more concise in my responses for those questions. And sure enough, it went back in, you looked through some emails and messages and Teams messages and brought back some useful information that I thought was, and I was like, actually, yeah, that's actually what I would talk about because
Yeah.
it's the recent experience as well. But the shameless plug I was going to have with Outlook, and then I'll come back to Teams, is I say this every time. I don't know, so I don't know for certain if it's going to come to our government community cloud, but for our commercial customers that or government commercial customers as well too that have a commercial tenant, in other words, um, schedule with Copilot. That is my favorite Outlook feature by far.
Mhm.
Why, you ask? Because it will generate an agenda, it will generate a title, it will summarize the thread that I'm on and talking about, and put everyone on the thread into their respective twos or optional lines, and then pull up my calendar so that way I can actually look at it. Now I can insert the information into the body and change it up because maybe we're going to talk about something different. But the summarization, I leave that as is. It attaches the actual Outlook item to the actual meeting request. And for me personally, I think that's a game changer, to be honest. Because how many times, for those that are out there listening, or even Stacey and Ricardo, when y'all are trying to schedule a meeting with multiple peers or whomever it may be on a long thread, and
Mhm.
you're like, okay, I don't even want to look at everybody's calendar, let alone summarize what we were just talking about to
Right.
give some guidance for the conversation. So for me, that's one of my favorite integrations with my
Yeah,
shameless Outlook plug.
for
But I
sure.
am like Stacey, though. I do like Teams. I'm getting so much more comfortable with editing pages as well too. That particular design through Loop, which I
Mm-hmm.
remember when Loop first came around with the Fluid framework, it's been a game changer to collaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just say I like Teams and initiating Copilot from there because I don't always, I mean, I do because I work at Microsoft and I use this stuff all the time. But I know that a lot of our customers don't always know naturally where they're going to end up, which app is going to serve them best. Maybe they're just making a table, but they don't know if it's going to be an Excel spreadsheet at some point or if it's just starting off as a light table that they're going to plop into Word or into PowerPoint. So I just start it all in Teams in
Mhm.
the Copilot app there. I'm already there too. I spend, 90% of my day in Teams. So I might as well start where I already am and then take whatever that output is. Love the copy button in Copilot
Yes.
because
Oh,
I can copy it and drop it over in Outlook. I can drop it over in PowerPoint. You get the idea.
yeah.
But maybe I don't always know the direction that content's going to take when I want to first ask my plain question
Yeah.
or prompt my plain thought, and then let Copilot help me shape the look and then take it wherever I need it.
Can
Yeah.
I add to that, Stacey?
Please.
One thing I want the listeners to think about as well too that are tuning in. So we know Copilot in Teams or Intelligent Recap. Everybody loves that feature. It summarizes via AI. Well, I want to speak to those note takers that still either use your notepad, your handwritten notes, or you also leverage OneNote, because those that have been around, OneNote's been around for a long time. Um, I think that's a game changer as well too. That a lot of people do not pay that close attention to. Think if you think about it, you still like to take handwritten notes, and you have a Surface Go or something like that, or a Surface Pro where you can use your actual pen and write handwritten notes in OneNote, and then ask Copilot to summarize it. How
Mhm.
impactful is that for you? When you think about the chicken scratch that we do sometimes have with our handwriting, like how awesome is that if you do it in OneNote, have Copilot summarize it, and then help you understand it, and then move it into a different application in order to do something more within that application with the notes you just have taken. Like I think when we start to really get down into it, I think there's so much more that we could leverage
Mm.
it for, outside of just some of the use cases that we see across AI and within the space as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's scary how much I'm starting to depend on it, especially in that note taking area. I know how to take notes, but I love having it there to take it for me so that I can be more engaged and present in the meeting and not have to worry so much about, just, desperately trying to get all my thoughts down. So yeah, that's awesome for sure.
That's not scary. That's just adoption, Ricardo.
That's
That's
it.
true.
That's
Yeah,
just
It's
adoption.
just
You're
about
using
shit.
it to its fullest.
that's
You're
true.
making it. You're making it your own. Like, and so
Yes.
And in reality, that's one of the things, because I have a focus on M365 Copilot. That is one of the things that I speak with customers or even partners that we work alongside with, where we talk about making it personal for you. Like when you feel that you are improving your own personal productivity, it's you then start to elevate or uncap the potential of how Copilot can be supportive for you, right? Because now you
Right.
figured out a way to take advantage of it in a way that's efficient, it's consistent, and it makes you more productive. And so then you're like, oh, okay, well, what else can I actually do with this? How can I actually have this help me within my day to day? And it's outside of it's still personal productivity, but it becomes maybe line of business productivity in that case, or business process productivity.
Right. But now you can't take it away from me at this point.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. You don't want to have it taken away, because
yeah,
now I
I'm
can
all in.
I mean, I even find myself now, Stacey, I don't know if you find yourself doing this, but I leverage even the consumer version, when I'm doing my own personal type of things, like
Totally.
taking my kids to Breckenridge here soon. And so I was using it to give me some information on that. Now, mind you, I've been to Breckenridge quite often, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, help me kind of plan this out in a way that's going to be, conducive and appreciative.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that you are again helping your government customers as M365 Copilot is kind of rolling out. Have you thought about like what kind of impact do you think Copilot in government, AI in general, really is going to have, or maybe you've already seen happen? I mean, certainly there's AI, Azure AI and things like that are already in government. I know agencies are already building things there, but as Copilot now comes in, what impact do you think we'll see there? How will that help agencies out?
I think it's going to help agencies to be more effective and improve certain business processes with better communication across the board. I think as government agencies start to leverage Copilot for their personal use in terms of how they move about their day, it will start to expand some of those use cases. Now, I have seen some customers leverage it for like training documents, either whether it's summarization or even summarizing videos of trainings, things of that nature. There's other areas where they're wanting to help look at differences between, maybe it's some documents that you're looking to publish on for the public, and making sure that we have the latest information, right? Because a lot of I would say a lot of times there are opportunities where some of the information could be outdated. And so if information that is public and your constituents or other representatives are leveraging commercial Copilot to pull that information from your website, you want to make sure that that information is actually as accurate as possible. So prior to you publishing it and you're using it for your own day-to-day operations, that's where I can also see it being a lot more beneficial as well too. There's a ton of use cases out there that we're talking with customers about. And so I don't necessarily want to share a lot of those from those ideation ideas that are coming. But a lot of it is around data analysis capabilities as well too. Because I mean, let's just face it, we're in the age of AI, and data is paramount for us to understand trends, understand how we can better serve, our communities in different areas. It's just an opportunity where I see a lot of agencies starting to really focus on how can AI help us with a lot of our strategic initiatives. And the biggest thing that I think is probably going to be a key thing for agencies is agents. When agents does hit the government community cloud in this case, I know it's there for commercial, but I think Copilot agents are going to be a game changer, especially if you think about an HR handbook, or something like that, where I say easily, you can allow it to be, have an agent that does that information for you internally. But then if you have other ways that you can embed AI into your public offerings or something like that, right? Like there's a lot more ways that agencies and the government are going to be able to use AI in general just to support us as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned agents. Anybody that's come to this session often knows, we tried to do a session on agents. I had some technical difficulties. My whole neighborhood lost internet, and that show went kaput. But we will definitely in the new year bring that. We'll run that back and talk about that, because you're right. That's some cool stuff there. Lots of different use cases there. So and I do love in that too, that the ease of use. I mean, so what you just mentioned, for those that don't know about it, this is not a big, like, get your developers to spend 2 weeks building an agent kind of a thing, right? This is get an agent up and running in minutes, and that really adds a lot of value to that whole scenario as well. So hopefully we can show that.
Now, for the developers, though, I mean,
yeah,
those developers that are out there and y'all are geeking out over Copilot or the advances of AI, look at Copilot Studio, especially if you're trying to figure out how do you help your line of business do things a little bit more. Now, I'm not a Copilot Studio expert. I would have to get one of my peers to talk about that more. But what I am finding is that it's going to be something that's very unique in itself. I know we have SharePoint agents out there that I think that was just GA at Ignite. And so that's something that is very powerful as well too. And ironically, I actually like I like OneDrive's Copilot as well too, within their Copilot in OneDrive, being able to summarize a document fairly quickly just on the fly like that as well too. So there's just a lot of different ways in which the product is coming and the advances that are happening. And with the government, I think we just have to understand we're going to do things ethically no matter what. And I don't mean we in terms of just Microsoft. I'm talking about we as an individuals, right? Like we all have a responsibility for that. And I think the more that we can embrace the technology, because we already have it at our fingertips in our everyday lives, is just that there's no pressure when it's just only representing for you. But after that, definitely it's going to be a game changer.
Absolutely.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, man, we appreciate you joining us today, sharing your wisdom with us. Maybe we'll have you back in the future. You can give us
love to come back and pop in, see how you all are doing.
Awesome.
I love this platform. I think it's something that is unique. It's definitely different in terms of just being able to allow for us to share some knowledge in our own specific areas of focus, whether it's from Microsoft or not, right? I think there's a lot to be shared. Obviously, from a Copilot perspective, the adoption of it is going to continue to grow. But the one thing that I would probably say and leave you with is make it your own. That's really the biggest thing. Until you can effectively use it for what you feel it can be useful for, it's going to be hard to ideate on how you can expand it for different use cases, because you're not allowing yourself to practice. And we know practice makes perfect at the end of the day.
Yep.
Raise that confidence. Yeah.
That's right. Yes. Awesome. Well, to you too, and to everyone that's watching, if you're in the US or wherever you may be, and holiday season's coming up, happy holidays. If you're taking vacation, get your rest. And this show will see you again in January.
In 2025.
That's right.
Yes, cannot believe it. We are there.
Oh,
right,
how did that happen?
I don't know. Copilot. I don't know.
That's right.
No, happy holidays to you, Ricardo and Stacy. Happy holidays to
you
all
too.
of our people that joined. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas as well, and a Happy New Year. And looking forward to what's next.
All right.
That's right.
Thanks everybody. We'll see you.
Bye, guys.
All right.